Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the April 4th. Why do I have the first on here? April 4th, City of Waukegan City Council meeting. Could we make sure that everybody has your cell phones turned at least to silent? And then we will please rise for the pledge in a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please. Thank you. Be seated, please. We have the roll call, please, Mr. Clerk.
Alderman Newsom. Alderman Tempest. Present. Alderman Needham. Present. Alderman Larson. Present. Alderman Rivera. Present. Alderman Cunningham. Present. Alderman Conkin. Present. Alderman Moiseo. Present. Alderman Figueroa.
Present. We have a very enthusiastic quorum. Thank you. I will lead off. Oh, I believe tonight we have a executive session. We will have an executive session tonight. It will come after the alderman's comments. It's going to be very brief, but for all intents and purposes, after the alderman's comments, the meeting will be over because we'll come back out of executive session into regular session, then adjourn. All right. The date for the Miles Davis Jazz Festival event in Waukegan has been set. It will be held at Clockwise Theater on April 27th, start time at 7 o'clock p.m. Local talent Harrison Bankhead will be performing with his band, and I'm sure they will provide their usual standard of excellence while performing. But more importantly, we will have a special guest. The man who actually served as a producer for Miles Davis during his career will be providing some background and bits of history for the audience to enjoy during the performance. And it's something that out of this entire Miles Davis Jazz Festival, this is the first thing I've seen that indicates somebody that actually had some involvement with Miles Davis is taking part in it. So we're very excited by that, and it should be a lot of fun.
Your Honor, what was the date on that? I'm sorry.
It is April 27th, starting at 7 o'clock at Clockwise Theater. And we want to thank Clockwise Theater for agreeing to host the event, too. We were kind of going back and forth as to whether it should be outdoors, where it would go, but we figured setting it for outdoors would just assure we'd have pouring rain and lightning, so we decided to move it inside so it'll be sunny and probably 80 degrees. But it should be a lot of fun. The disaster in Japan is still ongoing. And I would like to urge everyone to find some small way to contribute to the relief effort. Remember, what goes around comes around, and when the day comes when we need friends from afar to reach out to help us in times of crisis, that a helping hand reaches in both directions in trying times. There are a lot of different websites that are put up. There's Red Cross. You can go on Amazon. You can go on PayPal. There's a lot of ways of helping. You know, it's kind of fallen off the news a little bit, but it's not getting any better, and they need help. They've been one of our greatest allies since World War II, and we have to remember who our friends are and have been. So please, anybody that can reach out, and $5, $1, $10, whatever you can give, it all starts to add up. The budget process is beginning. Next Saturday, we will hold the first of two special meetings that will focus on the budget. Saturday, April 9th, will be the first presentation and will kick off at 10 o'clock a.m. and is expected to run about 2 hours. The next Saturday, the 16th, will be a follow-up presentation and is expected to run about 2 hours as well. On Monday, April 19th, we will hold the budget appropriation hearing at 6:45 in the council chambers, followed by our regularly scheduled council meeting, during which the budget will come up for a vote. Copies of the budget are available online and at the Waukegan Public Library. Now we will move to audience time. First up is Mr. Fred Barstow. Fred, if you please come to the podium and give your name and address for the record, please.
My name is Fred Barstow. My address is 800 Clayton Street, Waukegan. Now, I have two things primarily I want to touch on. The first is I took a speech class from Melba Wixom. An auditorium is named after her. And when you speak over a microphone, you have to speak differently than in person. You have to speak in phrases. You have to use your diaphragm and project, and you can't rush. I can't hear a word that anyone from the audience says or anyone up here. I think you can all hear me. So I appreciate it. I'm going to stick around here and listen for someone that can't hear as well as I used to. Please use the Melba Wixom teachings. The other thing I want to say is I've had a wonderful alderman for quite a few years by the name of Mr. Figueroa. I want to publicly thank him for all the devotion and time that he has spent in our ward. He's backed me up when I sometimes am out on a limb, which used to be quite a bit of the time. And I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate all of the aldermen and women, because you're spending valuable time that I've never had. I've never run for this office. I appreciate all of you. I appreciate the mayor, who is spending a lot of time with this city. And I appreciate the audience. And even though I don't like cameras, those that don't want to come here, I appreciate them. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Next, we have Nicole Garza. Nicole? And if you would just state your name and address, please.
My name is Nicole Garza, and I live at 38145 McCarthy Road in Wadsworth. I'm coming to you guys with information dealing with the layoffs that are happening with the city. There's a possibility that they want to lay off 2 animal wardens at animal control, which means that they would bring in 2 untrained people to deal with these animals, which is going to make a risk for the citizens, and on top of that for the employees who are going to be put in those positions. We deal with dangerous dogs. Waukegan is known for them. Unfortunately, we are a town for pit bulls. If you don't know how to react to that type of dog or what to do when that dog is acting aggressive, you will get hurt, and that's not fair to put our employees or our citizens at risk for that. If your child's walking down the street and a dog attacks that child, you are hoping that that animal control person will know what to do to protect your child. If you put a citizen or any person into animal control that does not know what to do, them or the child will get hurt. We deal with disease, we deal with rabies, we deal with diseases that can sterilize people. If you do not know what those type of diseases are, you will get them. You will bring them home to your family. What we're trying to do is make animal control into a specialty department, that you need some type of training at least to be in this type of department. When it comes down to these exotic animals, we deal with snakes, pythons, monkeys, alligators. If you don't know what you're doing, you're going to get hurt, or the citizens will get hurt. Also with that, we are opening up a door for lawsuits. If a citizen gets bit due to animal control not acting appropriately, that's open for lawsuits. There's numerous cities that have been sued to $10 million to $12 million just because animal control did not react good enough, or they didn't know what they're doing. If you're scared of animals, it doesn't go away. And if you put a person in there that's scared of animals, they're not going to know what to do. We don't have seconds to say, what do I do in the situation of a dog attacking a person? You need to know how to react within seconds. You don't have time to sit there and say, what do I do? So we're coming to you to inform you that if this does happen, we are opening the city up for lawsuits that we could avoid completely. And also putting employees that we've kept into risk that could be fatal, to the point where we've seen people get torn up. We had that 19-year-old just a little bit ago who got mauled by 3 pit bulls. We were the ones who took care of those dogs. And if you dealt with someone who didn't know what they were doing, they also, or the person, will get mauled even worse than what it started out to be. So I'm hoping that we can come to some type of, to get animal control, a specialty department that you need at least some type of training to go along with that type of job for, you know, the employees and for the citizens that are at risk. And, you know, avoid the lawsuits. The whole point is that we don't want more lawsuits, and here we are, we're opening a door saying, sue us. You know, here, we don't have trained professionals to do what they're supposed to do, so perfect door opening to say, let's sue the city. Okay? All right, thank you.
Thank you very much, Nicole. Renatrice Pierre. Did I get the name right? Close. You can correct me. If you would state your name and address, please.
Good evening. It's Renatrice Pierre, 424 Lawn Court. I'm here with the other members of the Black Abolition Movement of the Mind with a gentle reminder about the ordinance that we spoke about some time ago. We're really, really effervescent about this particular issue. We don't want it to just materialize away. But I'm especially here because I frequently use the Metro, the station right there in Waukegan. I also have some friends that come up from Chicago that use the Metro, and the problem that we have faced being there is that the Metro has not been opening their station in accordance to what is posted on the building, and it's gotten so bad that for instance, not to be too graphic, but people have found it necessary to use the outside of the station as a restroom because it's not open when it says it's going to be open. Last Saturday, BAM put together a Black History program, and I had some individuals that were going to speak come up from Chicago that they had to use the train station. It was around 12 o'clock. They were in the station, and they were very abruptly put out, despite the fact that it said it closed at 1 p.m. When they asked the individuals why they were getting put out at 12:15, they were like, oh, well, we open today because it's a special day, whatever that meant, whatever the 26th of March was. You know, I'm not sure what it is in Lake County, but as far as I know, it wasn't a special holiday. And it's an insult to the individuals that frequent the Metro from the Waukegan station. I know that you all don't control them, but as the city council, you have an official capacity to put some pressure on them to have that station open. You know, not only they get enough money that that station can be manned from about 8 in the morning to at least 8 at night, because we don't want people having to use the station and defecate on the side of the building, urinate. When it's extremely cold, they have to face extreme temperatures, rain, sun, sleet, snow. And it says to me, as a patron of the Metro, we don't really care about you because you live in Waukegan, and Waukegan, for some reason, isn't a place that we feel that we should have to oblige the customers. If you go down the road, the Lake Bluff station, there may not be someone there to purchase tickets from, but the station is open and the restroom is available. It's the same thing when you go down Lake Forest, Highland Park. I know that these are considered more affluent areas, but it doesn't matter. As long as money is exchanging hands with the Metro, they should allow us the same courtesy that they would give the individuals in those areas, which is still Lake County. So that's all I have to say. Well, I'll say this. I want the ladies to come next time you have a meeting so you can hear it from them. I've had the experience, but they actually saw like the different grotesque events happening outside there. Please think about your citizens as well with that, because a lot of people commute every day to and from, and they don't deserve the insult. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Well put. We will be talking to them tomorrow. We are working with Metro, by the way. A lot of people may not be aware to refurbish the station, to fix it up on the outside, to do some work on the inside, and to make it, it may not be the most aesthetically attractive station, but it's going to be cleaner and it's going to look better. So this is something that's going to be going on over the next probably maybe a year, get this work done. But we will call them tomorrow about making sure that they are open on the hours that are put on the door. That's the very least they can do. So we will do that. I appreciate you bringing that to our attention. Next up is Mr. Chris Blanks.
Brother Blanks, 409 Oak Street, Waukegan, Illinois, founder and president of Black Abolition Movement for the Mind and National Action Network of Lake County. Just want to reiterate a little bit on the gun ordinance. And basically, it's not really a lot to say that we haven't said already. But what I do want to say is that, you know, at one point last week, there was some of the citizen that came forth and said something to the effect about we was alleging that it was intentional on the part of Smoking Gun. And that was never done. I just want to clarify, it was never a question that was raised, whether it was intentional or unintentional. There was never a question whether it was intentional or unintentional, even though the jury could still be out on that. And so whoever, the person that came forth, they was very ill-informed, and sometimes that's why many times people that run for political office, they can't seem to win because they're either ill-informed and out of touch with the issues of the community or out of touch with the peoples of the community altogether. They don't ride their motorcycles, their bikes, or anything, or come through the community and totally unaware. So anyway, enough with that. But what I want to say as well is that it always have been the issue at hand of accountability and responsibility. That's all we are saying here. And one of the primary things that got me involved in this issue as well is the fact that we are talking about, also we want to look at the fact that we're looking at what's fair. I think the situation I wanted to relate is what's fair as far as the enforcement, because oftentimes we have unfair enforcement of the law. That's what really got me involved in this issue, because we have to look at the fact that here's a young man, in spite of what has been alleged with him shooting his weapon off in the air or in a public place. This young man who had purchased his firearm was receiving training, was going to training, you know, to shoot his gun. Also, he was in his backyard with somebody trying to break in his property. He shot his weapon off as a warning shot to a would-be in the privacy of his backyard, okay, in a fenced-in area. Okay, but we're not here to argue him shooting the weapon off. But what I want to say is what makes it unfair in the enforcement is because let me just kind of recap a little bit. We have to look at not too long ago, we had someone in that same location of the Smoking Gun where a young man went in there and there was 5 slugs put in his stomach inside of Smoking Gun. Now, at that particular point in time, it was alleged that he was trying to rob the store. But mind you, this young man was never charged. He never went to jail for robbing the store, but the state's attorney's office never picked up the charges to charge anybody inside the store. Okay? Number 2, let's continue to look at this. Then we got to look at People's Market. There was a young man that was shot leaving the store. Not condoning the reason that he said that he was in there, supposedly that he was robbing the store, but he left the store, and a young man, the store owner of the People's Market, came outside the store and shot the young man in the back and in his leg. Once again, nobody was held accountable in that position. Last but not least, right across the street from where this young man, Deletre Tenard, lived, there is the store, the McAllister store. We had the store owner walk outside his store, same incident. He walks outside of his store, he fires his weapon on the public sidewalk, not in the backyard. He fires his weapon off at that he fires his weapon off in front of the store, the same store where our first ward aldermen say that the little kids play at. And they found a weapon there on the sidewalk. But this man came out, he shot his weapon off, and at that particular point in time, we're talking about equal protection under the law. Now, this man comes out, he fires his weapon, but the police steps back. They allow his cousin from the sheriff's office to come in, drive this man off. He received no consequences, no repercussions from the law. He didn't receive anything as to what similarly happened with Mr. Tennard. Mr. Tennard, he had his weapon taken from him, stripped him of his gun card, probation. I'm trying to think of a whole number of other things that happened. So my point here is we got to look at what is fair under the enforcement of the law, because as we said, like my vice president said last week when she was talking about trust and faith in the police department. Okay, she wasn't putting a blanket statement on the police department, but regardless of all the good deeds and accolades that has been given to the police department, when you come to the community and you're not enforcing the law fairly, where you have the law that is forced for the poor and underprivileged, there's a set of rules for them. And then there's a set of rules for those who are privileged to have good connections downtown as to where they can get away with murder or there is no consequences at all. So that's why I got involved, is because of the unfair enforcement of the law that keeps me here. It was the unfair enforcement of the law through the $500 impoundment that brought me here. It's injustice. It's inequality, it's unfair, and so we got to have something in place. That's the least you can do for this guy, is put that ordinance in place. Thank you for your time and attention. Let's get that ordinance in place. Thank you.
Chris. Thank you very much. That concludes public comment. I missed one of my announcements during my mayor's comments, and this one is also very important. The 27th Chicago Latino Film Festival is in Waukegan again, and it is opening April 8th, going through the 10th. At the Genesee Theater. We have 3 really good films that are showing. Friday at 7 o'clock, we have Sin Retorno, which is No Return. Saturday at 7 o'clock, we have 18 Comidas, which is 18 meals. Then on Sunday at 4 o'clock, the final show is Chico Grande. And I've been told that these are superb films. Last year was a lot of fun. We had a great turnout. The films are subtitled, so there's you will have to read along, but they were really, really well done productions, and we're not talking about something made with somebody's home video camera. These are real films, and I think they were very dramatic. They were very thrilling. There was, some of the little bits of violence here and there. It had a little bit for everybody. So I'd encourage everybody to come. I think it'll be a lot of fun. So again, that is at the Genesee Theater, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and tickets are available. So thank you, and I apologize for missing that. Now we go on to the minutes. I'll take a motion by Alderman Conken, seconded by Alderman Newsom, to accept the minutes of March 21st, 2011, regular meeting and executive session. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest. Aye. Alderman Needham. Aye. Alderman Larson. Aye. Alderman Rivera. Aye. Alderman Cunningham. Aye. Alderman Conken. Aye. Alderman Moiseo. Aye. Alderman Figueroa. Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Next, we have resolutions and proclamations. We do have a resolution for Meredith Carpentier, I believe is how you pronounce the name?
Carpentier.
Carpenter. Oh, the I is silent. We have the motion by Alderman Tempest. Do we have a second? Second. By Alderman Needham. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Mr. Clerk.
Resolution 10040. Whereas Meredith Carpentier is a distinguished marksman on the Waukegan High School rifle team, and whereas Meredith Carpentier was selected to the Illinois High School Rifle All-State Team in 2009, and whereas Meredith Carpentier is the 2010 Illinois High School Rifle State Champion, and whereas Meredith Carpentier is a 2011 State Scholar and a United States Air Force Academy appointee for the class of 2015. And whereas Meredith Carpentier, by distinguishing herself, has brought honor to her family, her friends, and her community. Now therefore be resolved that Mayor Sabanjian and members of the Waukegan, Illinois City Council congratulate Meredith Carpentier for her dedication and commitment to excellence, and to recognize the outstanding contributions she has made to the Waukegan High School and the City of Waukegan. Further be resolved that a duly embossed copy of this resolution signed by the City Clerk and Mayor be presented to Meredith Carpentier dated this 4th day of April, 2011.
Thank you. Meredith and family, are you here? Would you like to come up front? That's great. Well, congratulations. We're so happy. Would you like to say, I have to shake with the left hand, I'm sorry. Thank you. Would you like to say something?
Sure.
Speaker, too. That's good.
Well, I don't just owe my success to myself. It wasn't all just me. Coach Dave Schrank with the Waukegan High School rifle team opened a lot of doors for me and pretty much opened the door to my marksmanship ability and attending the United States Air Force Academy. Without his hard work and without my parents' dedication and work ethic in me, I wouldn't be where I was. Waukegan High School rifle team and their whole athletics department really deserves more than the attention that they get. And thank you, Mayor. Thank you for this. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely, well deserved.
Thank
You
you,
know,
sir.
we give a lot of attention to football and basketball and track and these other sports because they're the glamour sports. You know, that's the one to get the attention. But you know, Waukegan High School, a lot of people may not know, has a really rich history in the arena of target shooting, of marksmanship. And I think a lot of it goes to the ROTC program that they have, which has been effective for decades. I was a marksman when I was in ROTC. I enjoyed it. I never competed. I just earned my marksman medal, and you know, that was a lot of fun. But I grew up at the Shoot-A-Rama. Some of you may remember the Shoot-A-Rama in Waukegan. I was there every Saturday with the gentleman that owned it, and we used to target shoot all day with my dad, and it was a great time. And so we're really proud of you, and we're glad to be able to give you this acknowledgement. And I think we're going to have to look about adding some additional signage to the entry of the city of Waukegan so that your accomplishments can be noted by everybody coming in. So we're very happy to have you. Thank you for being here. Do we have any comments? Alderman Conken.
Yes, Your Honor, thank you. I'd also like to add that although that's an outstanding accomplishment and the marksmanship is fantastic, I know you went downstate and you shot and had the championship team. I think your biggest accomplishment is being accepted to the Air Force Academy. That's an outstanding accomplishment. Very few people get those appointments, and I'm very proud that somebody from Waukegan get that. Thank you.
Any more? Alderman Tempest.
Yes, in regards to the Air Force Academy, what an accomplishment. I hope the new Sun would write a little article in regards to that. It's a rare occasion that somebody from Waukegan gets appointed to West Point, or the U.S. Navy Academy, or the Coast Guard Academy, or West Point. If you've never been, or the Air Force Academy, if you've never been out there, it's what a beautiful facility, what a beautiful location. And I do have to apologize to the family. Some time ago, I helped write a resolution for him. Thought I gave it to the city clerk, and it got waylaid somewhere, but Conken got going on it, and I'm so happy you'll be able to come here tonight. You surely deserve it, and you are a state champ. You're part of the family.
Okay, thank you. Anything else? No? Thanks very much. Okay, next we have committee reports and motions. First up is Alderman Rick Larson for with the Public Safety Committee report.
Thank you, Mayor, and I will try to talk distinctly for Fred so he can hear what I'm saying tonight. The Public Safety Committee met on Monday, March 28th at 5:30. We had a quorum. There was approval of the minutes from 2 previous meetings. There was no old business. New business under the Fire Department heading, the Public Safety recommends, and I so move, that the Public Safety Committee recommends the City Council amend Chapter 9 of the City Code of the City of Waukegan, Fire Prevention and Protection, to clarify language regarding collection of fees. And that has to do with insurance collection on ambulance fees, et cetera.
We have the motion by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest. Aye. Alderman Needham.
Aye.
Alderman Larson.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Figueroa.
Aye.
Ayes have it. Thank you.
Item B, an ordinance amending Chapter 9 of the Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 1, in general, the Section 9-1, Annunciator Panel, connection required, changes of the City of Waukegan Code of Ordinances. The Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the Public Safety Committee recommends the City Council amend Chapter 9 of the City Code of the City of Waukegan, Fire Prevention and Protection, Article 1, in general, Section 9-1, Annunciator Panel, connection required. And in essence, our new fire alarm monitoring system, the drop-dead date for everybody to be connected is now going to be established as January 1st, 2012, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman Needham.
Aye.
Alderman Larson.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Figueroa.
Thank
I
you.
vote aye, and I made a comment in the public safety meeting that if we can get the Waukegan Chamber and Waukegan Main Street and other organizations involved and spreading the word. I know a couple of downtown buildings have been that I'm involved with have recently made that change, but I think we need to get the word out that it is a good deal for not only for them but for the city of Waukegan, and so if we can get the Waukegan Chamber and the Waukegan Main Street involved in spreading the word and getting that information out.
The chief will contact our provider, Comtech, to redouble the efforts because the public may or may not be aware of it. We've said it a number of times here that this new fire alarm monitoring agreement not only improves the revenues coming to the city of Waukegan, but also saves a considerable amount of money annually to the business owners who are required under the ordinances to be connected for their fire alarm system. In some instances, an apartment complex on the west end of the city by Fountain Square will save over $20,000 a year by going to this monitoring system. So it is a win-win for not only the city of Waukegan revenues, but also the businesses who take advantage of it. And there's no reason not to do this right away. So we're kind of giving them an incentive to finish it off this year. Thank you very much. Item C, traffic survey, resident permit parking, Lake Court. The Waukegan Police Department received a request to change Lake Court between West Street and MLK Jr. Avenue to resident permit parking only. Residents from the 200 to 300 MLK Jr. Avenue Park on Lake Court, which prohibits the residents who live on Lake Court from parking on the street. The police department researched this request and found that the residents who live on Lake Court were in favor of the resident permit parking only. The police department recommends the change of Lake Court to resident permit parking only. And I lost my space. The Public Safety Committee recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to draft an ordinance to reflect resident permit parking only on Lake Court between West Street and MLK Jr. Avenue, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it.
Item D, request to pay the annual membership invoice from Nemert. The Waukegan Police Department respectfully requests approval to pay the annual membership invoice from Northeast Multi-Regional Training, Inc. The Waukegan Police Department is a member of Northeast Multi-Regional Training, Inc., which is an agency that conducts various training classes of which our police department employees attend. We have been a member for several years and pay an annual fee based on how many police officers we have employed, up to a maximum of 125 officers. Our fee this year is $90 per officer, a maximum of 125 officers, for a total of not to exceed $11,250. The Public Safety recommends, and I so move, that the proper city officials be authorized to pay the annual membership fee of $11,250 to Northeast Multi-Regional Training, Inc., 355 Smoke Tree Plaza, North Aurora, Illinois, 60542, and I so move.
We have the motion by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. Roll call, please.
Could I ask a question?
Yes, Alderman.
He said maybe it should go to the chief. How many years have we been, a member of this training organization?
At least 10 years.
10 years? With the amount of experience we have, do you really feel it's necessary that we need to continue with this expense? $90 per officer? We don't have enough trained personnel to do it ourselves? I'm just looking to find dollars here and there. And I know, you know, we join the crime lab, we join this lab, we get this, and pretty soon we got another bureaucracy working that we're part of.
Well, to answer that, Alderman, I would say $90 is not a lot of money to set aside.
It's what?
Is not a lot of money to set aside for the level of training that we receive.
A lot
You
of
have to
money in my
understand.
pocket. Go ahead.
And I can understand that, but you have to understand that the laws change often, the techniques and the practices of the police, best practices change often, and it's incumbent upon us to make sure that our officers are at the cutting edge of training.
But we've been there for 10 years now.
It constantly changes.
What did we do before that?
Train.
Who trained? Do we belong to some club?
There was other organizations, other training courses.
Are they cheaper? I'm sorry, I don't mean
put
to
a dollar value on that. It's a matter of.
I'm just trying to find ways to cut dollars here and there.
Man, I understand, but training, it's extremely important for us.
Thank you, Alderman. We now proceed with the roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
No.
Alderman Needham.
Aye.
Alderman Larson.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham.
Aye.
Alderman Conken.
Aye.
Alderman Moiseo.
Aye.
Alderman Figueroa.
Ayes have it. Thank you. That concludes Public Safety Committee.
Actually, there are a couple other things I'd like to talk about.
Are they items of business, Alderman, or just a discussion?
They are, we had a report on the snow emergency that I asked for. I'd like
Okay.
to highlight that.
Sure, absolutely.
There were checks received from the Illinois State Police, an equitable sharing payment received from the U.S. Department of Justice. We received checks for $9,735.50 from the Illinois State Police, and equitable sharing payments in the amount of $38,301.49 from the Department of Justice, DEA. Also, Police Chief, Deputy Chief McCormick, and Fire Chief Young gave us a rundown of the actions of their departments during the recent snow emergency. I thought it would be informative to get a handle on what they went through during that time. And a couple of the highlights that might be worth representing here. There was a tremendous amount of pre-planning done by both departments. The police department rescued or sheltered approximately 20 people that were left on their own. The city garage was used for car parking to help the plowing of the city lots. The only 2 officers did not make it in for that snow emergency, which I thought was impressive. Public Works did need some security while we were sheltering the residents, and that was one of the functions our police department did. But all in all, it went rather smoothly in the estimation of Deputy Chief McCormick, and I appreciate their efforts. The fire department had days in advance had offered to the firefighters the opportunity to bunk in early, knowing that the storm was on the way. Unfortunately, 14 firefighters did not make it to work that day on time. 14. Their pay was docked, but this amounted to 68 hours of overtime that had to be incurred by our fire department. The estimated cost of emergency vehicle usage that we applied to the state emergency funds for a rebate amounted to about $8,500. But I think it's imperative that the emergency personnel perform at a higher level when there are snow emergencies, and they have advanced warning that this is going to happen. And I just thought the contrast between the response of the two departments was, worth mentioning. So anyhow, that was the summary from our police and fire chiefs. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Larson. We have, of course, been notified by FEMA that the disaster dates have been accepted by the federal government. We are in the process of working through the paperwork and getting ready to be able to make sure that we are reimbursed for as much of our expenses as is possible. I believe it were 2 days that they included in this emergency FEMA package. So as that moves forward, we'll keep everybody apprised as we apply for some compensation for our expenses, which were considerable during that event. Alderman Larson, are you set, sir?
That is all.
You're all done. Okay, thank you. Judiciary Committee, Alderman Figueroa, please.
Thank you, Your Honor. The Judiciary Committee met on March the 28th at 6:30 p.m. here in the council chambers. First action item, had to do with the red light traffic enforcement camera system. The Judiciary Committee recommends, and I so move, to have the Corporation Council draft an ordinance amending the regulating of red light traffic enforcement camera system. The draft was presented. We went over the draft, so we recommended that the Corporation Council review the draft with the recommendations from the Judiciary Committee.
We have the motion by Alderman Figueroa, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item, Your Honor, has to do with a conditional use permit for a hand car wash and detail facility located at 550 North Green Bay Road, the zoning calendar 2331. The Judiciary Committee recommends, and I so move, to have the Corporation Council draft an ordinance approving said zoning calendar for the conditional use permit for the hand car wash and detail facility at 550 North Green Bay Road.
We have the motion by Alderman Figueroa, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Thank you.
Next item on the agenda had to do with, it's also a conditional use permit for auto repair facility at the location at 540 Grand Avenue.
Is that 840 or 540?
840. See, one of the things we need to do is the lighting. If I do it this way, it's
or we can print yours like we do mine in extra large, bold type.
And my eyesight, like my hearing, is getting worse, so.
What did you say?
All right, as we move, let's see. I'm going to, for the third time. Okay, let's see.
Item C?
Item C, yes, thank you. Judiciary Committee recommends, and I so move, to have the Corporation Council draft an ordinance approving zoning calendar 2337. That's for a conditional use permit for an auto repair facility at 840 Grand Avenue.
We have the motion by Alderman Figueroa, seconded by Alderman Tempest. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The ayes have it. Thank you.
The last item on the agenda had to do with the zoning calendar 2339. It's a conditional use permit for a pawn shop, and this is on the Lewis Avenue Shopping Center. I don't have the address right away, but it's in one of those facilities, the Lewis in Glen Flora. What's the address? 1309 North Lewis. Judiciary Committee recommends, and I so move, to draft an ordinance approving zoning calendar 2339, conditional use permit for a pawn shop at that address. There's a lot of discussion in the Judiciary Committee, and we decided just to move it up. There's a part of the economy, they charge exorbitant rates when it comes to, but it's usually on a short-term basis. In other words, 30 to 45 days average. But what were they talking about, Alderman Temp, about 20% per?
20% per month.
Per month. But for a short-term
month.
period, it would be 20%, $20 on 100. It's a higher end, are they here?
Yes, they are here.
They are here.
Actually,
They gave it a rather lengthy presentation at the Judiciary Committee. They have several, so it's not just it's a chain. If the other alderman would like to, a quick presentation just of what it's a higher end. Now, they don't really call it a pawn shop. The name pawn shop will not appear anywhere, but that's what it is. If the other alderman would like and ask any questions of the proprietors.
Just a draft.
Oh, just a moment. Just a moment. Who from your group would like to represent you? Why don't you approach the podium, please?
We would have to make a motion first to do that, but it would, I would make that motion to have him.
Sure. We have the motion by Alderman Figueroa, seconded by Alderman Cunningham. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it to allow the gentleman to speak and address questions regarding zoning calendar number 2339 CUP for a pawn shop.
I've got one.
Okay, we'll start with Alderman Newsom.
I had a few.
It's going to be a short presentation.
Very
Don't go through that.
questions.
Very.
I mean, you can go ahead, and then I'll.
Okay, thank you very much. My name is Paul Rosenfeld. I'm with Cash America International. Mr. Chairman, Mr. Mayor, members of the committee, thank you very much for giving us the opportunity to come speak. I will do this really quickly, and then I'll just give it to you guys. Yes, I understand when people hear pawn shop, they think of a dark, dreary place. Frankly, if I was sitting in your seats, I would have concerns about the culture of a company that was coming in that was a pawn shop, and if that was going to be something that was going to be viable to our community, if it was going to be something that we were going to want. Cash America International takes all of the myths or all the beliefs that you hear of pawn shops and turns them upside down. We're a publicly traded company. We're on the New York Stock Exchange. We do over $1 billion in total revenue in 2009. We have over 1,000 locations in the United States and Mexico, and we have more than 6,500 coworkers that work for us. We will do two things in this location. We don't do payday loans. We don't do cash checks. We don't do title loans, any of that sort. We give people non-recourse, collateralized, secured loans. And yes, as the chairman was saying, if we could just say that that's what we do, we would love to say that. Unfortunately, the license is called a pawn license. But that's what we do. We go out and give folks who can't go to a rich mom or dad, they don't have that opportunity, they got a problem, they had something that came up, we give them the opportunity to go out and get a short cash loan. We try to do that by giving people the most bang for their buck. We loan more than most other independents are because we have a lot more money there we are available to loan. We also have value-priced merchandise. When people don't come in and pick up their stuff, 70% of the time people come in and pick up their stuff. The other 30% of the time, we look at that as bad debt. Well, we have to liquidate that bad debt, and we do a very nice job of that. Our places are brightly lit. We'll spend about $500,000 on build-out and on our finishes for this area. We'll have 15 cameras in the location to help with that. We have 16 locations in Illinois currently. Many are in Chicago, Calumet City, Oak Park, Franklin Park, Marionette Park. If you went into the areas where we're already located, we have done anything but be able to be something that was downtrodden for the neighborhoods. Areas like Lakeview, Bucktown, Oak Park, they've all done nothing but gone up in value and property when we've been there. We've spent a considerable amount of money and time and energy in the communities that we're at because we understand that our names are pawn shop. So we go in and try to go the extra mile in those areas. Just quickly, we are regulated by the Division of Banking at the state of Illinois, so we are really highly regulated. There are less than 300 licensed pawn shops in the state of Illinois. Any of the cash for gold places, secondhand dealers, all those places, they don't have the same stringent regulations that we have. We have to, by law, send every day within 24 hours of taking something in to local law enforcement a list of everything that we take in from those places to help with property crime. We do it. They take records of what's been brought in, and statewide, less than 0.1% of all the property that's come into pawn shops has been found as being confiscated by police as being stolen. We really do an excellent job taking 2 forms of ID, making sure that we're not getting stolen merchandise into our place. Again, we're publicly traded. We're on the New York Stock Exchange. We look at stolen merchandise as risk. It's risk to our reputation, and we don't want it, and we do everything we can to make sure it doesn't come in. You'll see in your packets that I get you that a bunch of highlights of places that we've been in where aldermen have said that we've been very good neighbors and assets to the business community. Another alderman who is now, ironically, the director of the Division of Bankings, said it is businesses like Cash America that add to the caring community that we as aldermen attempt to foster. A state representative in the city of Aurora talks about how we, after doing a store tour and showing her how we operated, we help her set up a camera system that shows that the Aurora Police Department could photograph people doing crack buys on a block. With our help, they were able to shut down a crack house, and since then we've had a wonderful relationship with the Aurora Police Department. Just quickly about some of the pledges we have to the city. We'll strive to be well-respected, honest citizens, and we'll be open from 9 to 7 Monday through Friday till 6 p.m. on the weekends. We treat our customers with respect and dignity. That's very important. You get fired quicker at Cash America by treating people disrespectful than you do by stealing. We help law enforcement, as I said before. We get involved with the community. We hire locally.
From Joliet?
What's that?
It says from Joliet. I hope it's a typo, but it says from Joliet.
I'm sorry, it must be a typo from an old thing. I apologize. I could go on longer, but I'll just go ahead and answer questions.
That's great. Thank you very much. Do we have any questions?
I do.
Alderman Newsom.
I know you mentioned 16 cameras. Why is there a need to have so many cameras?
We have a protocol for all of our stops that we do nationwide to make sure that we help ensure, most importantly, the safety of our coworkers. We have money, jewelry, gold there, make sure that they're all safe. Secondly, to make sure that we're doing everything we can to help prevent theft and to help keep anyone who would have the idea of bringing stolen merchandise out of our stores.
Who sets that 20% interest?
It's set by the way the interest rate is set, it's set by the state of Illinois. It's 3% plus a handling and storage fee not to exceed 1/5 of the loan. That's set by the state.
And the other question I have, there's some aldermen here that spoke highly of your store. Can I get their information where they are located?
Absolutely. 2 of them are in the city of Chicago, and one's a state representative from Aurora. Sir.
Yeah, Alderman Figueroa.
Yeah, I'm going to ask you to, you touched on what you do not to deal in stolen, and I think that's very important in our community.
Yeah.
To avoid stolen, would you gloss over that again?
Sure, I'd be happy to, because we actually go a little farther than what I just said. So in addition to the cameras, anyone who comes in has to show 2 forms of ID, but also we put our people through extensive training. If I walked in with an initial ring that didn't say PR on it, my initials, I'm not going to get a loan. If I come in with a guitar and I don't know how to play it, I'm not going to get a loan. Our people go through a whole qualifying of the person. We also have a pretty extensive database, so we know who's been in, how often they've come in, that sort of stuff. And then we will send to local law enforcement in the form that they choose, not that we choose, a form that they choose, every piece of property that we get within a 24-hour period. So if they want it emailed, if they want it faxed, however they want it. In addition, well, we have to do that by state law. In addition to that, there is a national database that we don't have to, but every night we download from every one of our locations every single piece of item that we have brought in from anywhere in the country, okay? Now, if you're a city of Waukegan police officer and something's stolen and it gets pawned in Tennessee or Chicago, Illinois, they can find it. Again, we do that just to help out and be good corporate citizens.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Yes.
Alderman Rivera.
Did you mention firearms?
We do not lend or do any business in firearms in the state of Illinois.
Thank you.
Okay.
And will not.
The name pawn shop will not appear anywhere in that. I think that's
correct.
One of the,
yes, what's one of the conditions in our use, and we use jewelry and loan.
okay.
Can I ask
Yes.
a question?
Sure.
Chief Grayhouse, can I ask you a question regarding the other shops that we have in the area? Have they been any problems?
It's totally different. Loaded question.
And I'll try to explain it briefly. Over my 23 years of experience in the police department in Waukegan, we've had several different pawn shops come in and out. Some were more cooperative than others. There were some that were fences, quite frankly, for stolen property. I personally don't like pawn shops, basically because of the problem that it tends to bring into communities. Yes, it is an avenue for someone to take an item that if they need money to pawn for a period of time to get this loan. But also, it's a situation, and I'm not sure in this particular one, I haven't had an opportunity to speak to the gentleman, but do you buy flat-out merchandise as well?
We do, but when we do, we have a hold period on that, and then we'll do the same transfer.
Therein lies the issue.
I didn't hear his answer.
So, yes, we also buy pieces when people want to sell something, but when we do that, we have a certain amount of time that we hold it in the store, and we also transfer the information for that to law enforcement as well.
So the issue is, not only is it a matter of if you have a nice watch and you need $100 to cover rent for the month or so, you take it to the pawn shop and you pay that difference, the finance charge or whatever fee they charge you with it, and get the item back. If someone acquires a nice watch and goes to this pawn shop, they in fact can sell it as well. Now, part of the problem for law enforcement is that most pawn shops are cooperative. But the issue goes in that they do have the information that they give to us, but the information is only useful if we know what the item is actually stolen. For example, if you have a DVR stolen from your residence, most people don't write down the serial numbers. So what comes into the pawn shop is the DVR with the serial number. Well, if we can't compare the two with a stolen item with the DVR, then we don't get it. Jewelry is the worst. That's why when you notice in most residential burglaries, jewelry is stolen. Well, that jewelry needs to go somewhere. Now, drug dealers get it, and they pawn it. The burglars go directly to pawn shops, and they sell it as well. If we can tie it together, recently the pawn shops have been very helpful. But the problem is, from my perspective and the way I view it, it is an avenue for burglars to get rid of stolen property. For example, it's also a situation where there can be a burglary that took place in Kenosha. They bring it to Waukegan. How do you tie the two together? Kenosha, now does Kenosha do they send the information from Kenosha to Waukegan, Waukegan to Kenosha? No, that doesn't happen. They send it to the local police department. And now we all have to try to work together to piece it together to find out where these items are, but it's just the sheer numbers of residential burglaries. The items are going somewhere. And we have pawn shops. We have a decent relationship with most, but pawn shops are problematic.
Yeah.
Please, if you'd like to address.
Chief's position on it. I'd just like to say that currently there is no law that mandates on this state that a Cash for Gold location, that a buy-sell shop location, that a flea market, that Google, that any of the other online places have that make people go ahead and report to the police department. We are the only ones that have a state law that mandates that we report to law enforcement everything that we get. So we actually become a much better place for leads when they are doing it appropriately, and I agree that there are folks that don't do it appropriately. We do it appropriately, we'll give them their leads. And back to the problem with Kenosha versus Waukegan. Waukegan, that's why we do the national database. We put things into a national database, so if someone is in Kenosha, they lose their stuff, it ends up in a pawn shop in Waukegan, that then they can go ahead and find it there.
Okay, thank you very much. I think that obviously the chief has given his point on it. I'd like to say that from what I've seen about the business, it does seem to be a little bit of a step up, and the issue of selling stolen property is a problem. It's a problem on eBay just as much as it is in a pawn shop. And I would say that at least in this situation, there seems to be a little bit more documentation and control than you would find on Craigslist or eBay or some of these, or just even an ad in the back of a newspaper. It does seem to me to be a fairly good fit. This is one step in the process that has to go on from here in regards to the CUP and having the ordinance drawn up and then brought back to the city council, during which time I'm certainly, if there's further questions by the city council, you'll make yourselves available and to answer them. And hopefully by the time we're back in 2 weeks to take a look at it, everybody will either have their mind made up as to which way they're going to go on it. So thank you for your presentation. Did we do our voice vote on that?
I had the motion, but it wasn't second.
We have a motion by Alderman Figueroa, seconded by Alderman Conken. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
One in opposition. The ayes have it. Thank
If
you.
I may have my remarks.
Oh, yes, sir, Alderman. I didn't know you wanted
No,
to.
that's all right. Well, 20%, Your Honor, for 1 month. 20% for 1 month. I'm sorry. How does a person that needs to go to a pawn shop to get the money dig themselves deeper and deeper in debt be allowed to go in? That's why I'm trying to protect the public. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Alderman. Okay, I do believe that concludes Judiciary Committee. Alderman Figueroa, did you have any other comments to make?
Not at this time.
Okay, thank you. We will go on to old business. Item A under old business.
Did we do, yeah, we did, I'm sorry.
Yes, sir, we're caught up. Old business, item A, was a motion by Alderman Rivera, seconded by Alderman Cunningham, to adopt an ordinance regarding certain water and sewage fees as were presented. This was requested to be held over by Alderman Tempest. Are we prepared to move forward this evening?
If
Your
I
Honor,
may,
if I...
Oh,
go ahead.
Alderman.
Go ahead, Alderman Tempest. You had the motion to hold over. Go
if I may speak to this. As I read through the ordinance, there's some parts in it is good. I don't think it's really been thoroughly looked at the way it should be. To my knowledge, we ought to have the rate increase in there also. We haven't been keeping up on our rate increase. Years ago, we seemed to do it every year, and we seem to have a 3-year gap. I don't care if you raise the water rates 2 or 3% a year. Each year, we should do it as our cost, and we can keep control. Also, when we first made the water rates years ago, we made them in such a way that you conserved water. Your lower, first 10,000 gallons was a lower price to encourage you to save water. My family, we only used 7,000 gallons of water in the last 3 months because we're very careful how we conserve it. You're supposed to conserve. But now your ordinance today says you're going to pay for 10,000 gallons of water if you use it or not. Something's wrong here. Something is wrong. My light bill, I pay for what I use. My gas bill, I pay for what I use. I try to conserve. I turn the light off. But the water bill, the way you have it constructed, gentlemen, you're going to pay for 10,000 gallons of water if you use it or not. Now, many households, this is so. There's 2 in my family now. How about the widow that maybe uses 5,000 gallons of water every 3 months? I mean, there's another structure. We need to get it done right. We need to put it in the water rates when you pass this ordinance. The water rates should be looked at. You want to have one tier for everything, one rate for everything. We have 3 different tiers now. On the water bill, it should show you got I believe, a $3 charge for water meter replacement, which I think is wonderful. I think that's a great deal. Maybe somehow built into the water rate a transportation system to get the water and maintain the water lines to get the water to each house. But I think we're trying to rush into this because of the economic condition we're in. Oh, we got to get this done. Well, I don't think it was quite done right. I really don't, Your Honor. And that's why I have to vote no. I know we have to do it, and I know we have to make some adjustments, but the way the present ordinance exists, I really can't vote for it. And those are my comments with it.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman Rivera.
Just to answer Alderman Tempest's concern, what we did for that, actually, that we passed that, and we actually defeated the proposed changes on that section to keep the section as currently written. So, you know, we didn't change the conversion from dollars to gallons, so we just kept it the same. But I was going to ask to hold this over because of the fact that most of the aldermen just received this ordinance. So to give them a chance to read it. So all these three items that are in front of us now, A, B, and C, I'm asking to hold over until they can read it.
Alderman Rivera, what we need is, we would need a motion to either return it to committee or table it. It's been held over once already by Alderman Tempest.
Then motion to table.
I have a motion by Alderman Rivera. Do we have a second for a motion to table? Alderman Cunningham has a second to motion to table. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Aye. It will be tabled and returned back to committee again for further review, I believe.
No,
Not back to committee, no.
Back at the next meeting. Or they're not
comes
going to
back
take it
into
back
the
to
next
work
meeting.
on it some more?
No, I think,
How are you going to work on this then if you're not taking it back to committee? You,
Bring it back up any time.
No,
we could have amended it tonight.
the motion by Alderman Rivera was to table.
To table.
We just got this, we haven't.
Right, exactly. They just received it today.
Right.
It'll come back in 2 weeks.
Okay. Well, then I will leave it up to you to have your discussions about where you'd like it to go between now and within 2 weeks, and we'll see if the timing is right to be able to pass it at that time then. Okay. Item B, we have the motion by Alderman Rivera, seconded by Alderman Cunningham, to adopt an ordinance regarding rates for collection of garbage, yard waste, and recyclable materials. As presented, this was requested to be held over by Alderman Needham. Alderman Needham, would you like to address this?
No comment. I went over it, but I believe that
He wanted to
Alderman
table all
Rivera's
three.
request was...
You want to table all three?
All the
Oh,
A,
I'm
B,
sorry,
and C.
Alderman, I did not hear you say that.
I did say A, B, and
So
C.
then I have to then, we need to redo the motion to include all three. So the motion has been made by Alderman Rivera, seconded by Alderman Cunningham, to table items A, B, and C, and then it will be brought back up at the next city council meeting, hopefully for action. If moved forward at that point. I mean, this could go into a perpetual cycle like this. Let's hope not. But all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Do we have any communications? No communications. Under new business and recommended actions by Corporation Council, item A, we have the approved payroll dated March 24th, 2011 in the amount of $1,283,714.02. We have a motion by Alderman Needham, seconded by Alderman Tempest. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman Needham.
Aye.
Alderman Larson. Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Figueroa.
Ayes have it. Thank you. Item B, approved bills dated April 1st, 2011 in the amount of $752,077.14. We have the motion by Alderman Needham, seconded by Alderman Tempest. Roll call, please.
Alderman Newsom.
Aye.
Alderman Tempest.
Aye.
Alderman Needham.
Aye.
Alderman Larson.
Aye.
Alderman Rivera.
Aye.
Alderman Cunningham. Alderman Conken. Alderman Moiseo. Alderman Figueroa.
The ayes have it. Thank you. That concludes all of our items of business. Now we will move on to the, we don't have any other ordinances or resolutions before us. We will now move on to Alderman's time. Mr. Clerk.
Alderman Newsom.
Thank you, Your Honor. At the last council meeting, I asked to look at the ordinance regarding the alternate parking and changing that time. It did not get into the Public Safety Committee as requested. Can we get it in there? Or do we need to put it in the Judiciary Committee?
That would be public safety.
That would be public safety. Alderman Larson will get it in.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's on the next agenda. My apologies for not remembering that request.
Does Corporation Council have to look at that first, or just put it in there for changing the time, huh?
Right.
Okay. That's all, Your Honor.
It's just a
Thank you.
change of a digit from 6 to 7, I believe.
Oh, from 7:30 to 6. Okay. That's all, Your Honor.
Alderman Tempest?
Yes, I'd like to comment on, we do have a number of vacant homes in some areas, and I just ran across some in my area that the backyard was literally a dump. And we need to somehow police those abandoned homes and get the backyards cleaned up. Either get the owner in here or the bank who owns it, because it's just not acceptable as it is, and we'll be working on those. The other thing, I think we've had a pretty tough winter. Snow's all melted now. It's time to get out and rake your parkway, rake your front yard, pick up the papers, and start making our town nice again. It just takes, city can't do it. We need individual homeowners to get to work, and let's take care and take pride in our community, because this is something we can all chip in and do. And this time of year, it looks that way. Thank you. You're correct. Okay, that's my comment, Your Honor. I know we're going to get it done.
Alderman Needham?
I'll pass.
Alderman Larson?
Yes.
Alderman Rivera?
I'll say something real quick. Number one, I agree with Alderman Tempest. You know, walking around in some areas in my ward too, it's time people start taking care of their properties. It's unfortunate because, you know, the shortage of people that we have in code compliance. You know, some of the priorities got to be sometimes changed, switched over to start checking on these properties that are, you know, just not being taken care of. But yeah, I definitely agree with the alderman. You know, people should just start taking care of their properties. You know, it'll make our town look a lot better, no question about it. Second, I did ask the last council meeting in regards to the police grant, and I asked for that to be put back in committee, but that wasn't done either. So I'd like to see that put back in committee to see where we're at on that. And I just can't see us laying off police. You know, that's going to be some problems, big-time problems, especially coming up in the summer. We're going to have a lot of issues. Don't think that these gangbangers, they have their own intelligence too, and they're waiting to see how we're going to react to this. So I definitely would like to see that back in committee. So, thank you.
Alderman Cunningham?
Two things. One, we talked to what Alderman Tempest is talking about is making sure that we get out there and make sure that we take a look at our own backyards for a change. But in my area, because we have a lot of ravines, I caution all of the citizens that are out there and those with those big backyards. There's illegal dumping going on. We need to keep our eyes and ears open. We need to make sure if you see people doing those kind of things, get some license plates, get the type of vehicle it is, and we can go from there. And no one wants to pay those dumping fees, and I do want to commend Mr. Haggerty and the limited crew that we have in code compliance. They're out there, and I see you, and I really appreciate you. It's very difficult right now. I too hope that everyone will pitch in and make sure that these yards are clean, but keep an eye out for these folks who are legally dumping. Danny, what are we doing? Are we finding them, towing them, or do we have a strategy in place? If we find something or get some complaints or some assistance, or what do you call it, tips, on these folks illegally dumping in our ravines and in some of these vacant lots, are we doing anything from a police standpoint?
Yes, we are prosecuting, obviously, but it is a situation where we have to be made aware of it. Obviously, they do it the cover of night for the most part in areas that are not well lit and pretty secluded. So they come in quickly. It takes a matter of minutes to unload a truck, a load of items, dump it and go. Sometimes they're dumb enough to leave items that we can go through and get mail out of there and get addresses, things of that sort, and prosecute them that way. But what is most helpful if we do get tips, and vehicle information is the key. If somebody drives by and sees something, take that time out. They don't have to get involved or get engaged, but take that time out to drive by and try to get a plate. If we get a plate, it's very helpful.
Okay. Dave, what are we doing if we catch maybe these landlords or even neighbors illegally dumping on other neighbors' backyards? Is there some type of process you have in place? And if you could, I don't know if you and Danny, I'm pretty sure you are, what can you give the community some tips on what to do to help us out?
Well, we hold everybody are accountable for their property. I mean, that's the bottom line. I mean, it's your property. If you're a landlord or if you're a bank, you're accountable. And we bring people to court, to our adjudication court. We get compliance, but sometimes we got to beat them over the head. I mean, that's the bottom line, especially with the vacant homes.
Okay.
Our VSR list is increasing every day. We're getting these homes registered. We're holding the banks accountable. There's over 1,200 properties now. We're about halfway on registering all of them. Just to get them registered takes about, I'd say about 15 man hours to register each home, with the phone calls, the follow-up calls, and things like that. That's going to be our issue, is the vacant homes. With a property owner, if it's a landlord or an owner, or we can deal with it. You just have to call our office. Please call code compliance, and we'll deal with it. There is no doubt about it.
Okay. All right. And I guess my message is that everyone who's out there, if you're riding by, you see things, just report it. Last but not least, we all know tomorrow, if you don't know, you should know, tomorrow is Election Day. We're encouraging everyone to get out there and do their duty as to vote. Thank you, and that's it.
Alderman Conken.
I just want to reiterate what Alderman Cunningham just said. Tomorrow's elections more directly affect you than national elections do. Take some serious consideration when you're thinking about voting for your school board, especially that's the biggest chunk of your taxes. Those are the people that spend the majority of your money. The other people that represent you up here on the city council affect you more than anybody else will on a national level or a state level. So, as Alderman Cunningham said, please get out and vote tomorrow. I know this is probably a little bit late for the viewing audience, but for those that are within earshot, make sure everybody you know gets out and votes. Thank you.
Alderman Moiseo.
Just one thing about the voting. If you live in Waukegan Township or North Chicago Township, a little bit of a disadvantage for early voting. You have to come down to the county building, find a place to park, go through the metal detectors, and then go early vote. I don't know any other township that has to go through that. I know in Wadsworth, they just go right up there, bam, in and out. So I think that's a little bit, I'm not saying it was done purposely, but I think it's a little bit of an unfair advantage. You have to come down here, try to find a place to park, empty your pockets, go through a metal detector, and then have to go early vote. That's not early vote. That's inconvenience. I don't know any other township that had to go through that. And I understand that the county's probably trying to cut costs by manning it somewhere else, but I think it should be a little bit of an equal footing for everybody. I don't think any other township's got to go through metal detectors or try to find a place to park. I think we need to maybe make that known to the county clerk, so that they can maybe address it, put it somewhere else, the library, the field house, anywhere. Thank you.
Alderman Figueroa.
Just a quick comment on the dumping. I don't know how many times I've said this, but it never hurts to repeat it. If you have a Waukegan City sticker on your car, you can take to the dump site, the Veolia dump site over there on Green Bay Road in Zion, and dump everything into a container absolutely free. No need to dump it into the ravines. If you have, all you need is a Waukegan City sticker on your car. Please do not dump into those ravines. It takes a lot of manpower to clean them up, and we have several groups that over the course of the summer clean up the ravines. Take it to the city dumpster, Veolia. And that's it, Your Honor.
Thank you. I should also add, too, you can call Veolia and arrange to have at least each week with your pickup one large item taken. And that can include a chair, sofa, things like that within reason. So that's one way to be able to get that done. And the other thing I'd like to mention, and I brought this up a number of times, is the penalties for doing dumping and for dumping garbage and diapers, which has become a real epidemic in this city. I can't tell you how many times I go into a parking lot for a restaurant or a business and I see diapers in the middle of the parking lot. That is the most disgusting thing. And they leave them on the beach. And there's only really one way to put a stop to something which is behavior like that, which is to make the fine big enough that it matters. And I keep bringing this up. The state of Colorado, you throw a bubblegum wrapper out of your window and you get caught, it is $1,000. And I'll tell you what, you drive down Interstate 76 through Colorado or 25, you know what you don't see? Stuff blowing around, diapers, you don't see any of that stuff. And it's because the penalty is stiff enough. Two things, it gets their attention, but it also enables to help fund the activity of stopping it. And if we had an ordinance like that, we could direct it to law enforcement and code enforcement activity specifically to put a stop to it.
Well, Mayor, sounds like you putting something in committee.
So moved.
Pardon?
Sounds like you putting something in committee.
I have brought this up a number of times, and I've been shut down on it before, but I'm bringing it up again.
All right, well, then there it is, in committee. I move to put it in committee.
Well, you guys, you know what? You don't need to vote on it. You just go ahead and do it.
We don't need a committee. We can put on the council floor. That's it.
So we'll do it next week.
Draft
I
some
will,
ordinance, we'll
in
have
2
it.
weeks,
We'll vote
I will
yes.
tell you, in 2 weeks, I will bring it back.
There you go.
For an ordinance regarding littering.
I got a lot
It's
of
what I've been
ravines,
trying
so
to do
I
since I
feel it.
became mayor, actually. Well, graffiti, I agree as well. But
Graffiti.
that's, anyway, so we'll have it on the next agenda then. Okay?
We agree.
All right, motion to go into executive session for real estate negotiations, potential sale or lease of city property by Alderman Needham, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Okay, let's take a couple-minute break before we go in.
Tom.
I know when you're ready. Ready?
I'm ready whenever you are, yeah.
Motion to come back into regular session by Alderman Newsom, seconded by Alderman Moiseo. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it. Motion to adjourn by Alderman Larson, seconded by Alderman Tempest. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Ayes have it.